Okay, so we are going to go through the January 2022 iGCSE paper and work through these solutions together. I hope you find it useful. So we're off. So the first question, a to the 7. So a to the 7, another way of writing that, a times a times a times a times a, and then we times a to the 4. So we can quite clearly see that that's a to the 11. And going forward we will use the fact that that is just, we add the indices to make that work, but you can see from that why that is the case. The same with this one, w times w times w times w times w, not going to do all 15, times w, all over w times w times w. Well, with a fraction we can do the same to the top as the bottom, so we're going to divide the top and bottom by w, top and bottom by w again, top and bottom by w again. So these are all 1s on the bottom, so we're just 3 short on the top. So we've just got 12 on the top. So w to the 12. Again, we can just use that subtraction going forward. Simplifying this one, so this is 8x to the 5 y cubed times 8 x cubed, x to the 5 y cubed, which is, if we do that in a different order, we can do the 8 times the 8, that's 64, x to the 5 times x to the 5, we know from what we did before, we'll just add the indices, that's x to the 10, y to the 3 times y to the 3, y to the 6. Another way of thinking about this, and going forward we can use this, is that we just multiply these indices. So x to the 5 squared is just 2 lots of 5, so we just do 5 times 2 and it's 10. 8 squared, so that's 64, y to the 3 cubed is y to the 3 times 2, which is 6. Okay. Next one, we're going to make this the subject. So we're going to get the v on the other side, leave the t on this side, so we're going to get t cubed, we're going to add 8v to both sides, so we get c plus 8v equals this. Now what do we do to both sides? Well, we're going to cube root both sides, so we get t equals the cube root, that's the opposite of cubing, we write it with a little 3 there, c plus 8v. So our answer is t equals the cube root of c plus 8v. Question 2. Danielle, Gabrielle and Hadley share some money in the ratio 3 to 5 to 9. Danielle, Gabrielle, Hadley, and they share it in the ratio 3 to 5 to 9. So I like to have this row that is about the ratios. So this is the ratios, 3 to 5 to 9. Now quite often we're interested in a total column, but in this one we're interested in the difference between Gabrielle and Hadley. So difference between Hadley minus Gabrielle is 4. And then in money, so this column is the euro, this row is the euros, we know that the 4 ratio is worth 196. And then we're going, okay, so how many times bigger is that than that? Well, 196 divided by 4 is 49 times bigger. So this ratio is all 49 times bigger, so everyone gets 49 times bigger. So 3 times 49, which is the one we're interested in, is 147. So the number of euros that Daniel gets is 147. Okay, here's the triangle. Got a bit of trigonometry. We need to know which lengths we're dealing with. So first one is, this is the hypotenuse, the longest length. Then we've got the angle, and opposite the angle is the opposite. This one is the adjacent. And we are looking at, we want the opposite length, we want AB. So I'm going to put a little X by AB because we want that one. And we're not interested in this, so I'm just going to scrub that out for now. We don't care about BC, we're not trying to find it and we don't know it. And then we've got to work out which ratio to use. Now I use this SOHCAHTOA to remind me which one's which. And these split into 3. We've got the opposite and the hypotenuse, adjacent and the hypotenuse, or opposite and adjacent. We're interested in the opposite and hypotenuse, so that's the sine ratio. So the sine of the angle equals the opposite over the hypotenuse. So altogether the opposite, if we multiply both sides by 8.4, x equals 8.4 times sine 65, so x equals 7.61298. Always worth writing down, more accuracy than you need. And then we're going to round that to 3 significant figures, so 7.61 to 3 significant figures, so non-zero, so it's just the first 3 numbers, like that. Okay. Sarah makes and sells mugs. One day she makes 150 mugs. Total cost is this: 2/5 are small, 32% are medium, the rest are large. And then we want to find out a percentage profit, and we know how much she sells them. So we need to know how many small mugs. So the small is 2/5 of 150. So that's 150 divided by 5, which is 30 times by 2, which is 60. The medium is 32%, which is 32 out of 100 times 150, which is 48, and the rest are large. Large, so 150 minus 60 minus 48, which is 42. So we then want what our income is going to be, what our sales are going to be, is 60 times £8.50 plus 48 times £11.20 plus 42 times £14.20. Okay, we add those up. And we get an income of 1644, which means we've got a profit of 1644 minus the cost, which is 1140. 504. And then we want the percentage profit, and we always do that related to the cost. So 504 as a percentage of the cost. The cost was 1400. So how far have we made our cost go? That's a percentage, so we times by 100. Is 44.2105. So to the nearest whole number is 44%. Okay, Jenny has 6 cards. The smallest number is 5. The largest number is 24. Yeah, that's written on. The median of the 6 numbers is 14. So between there and there, the middle is 14. So they could both be 14, or they've got to be either side. So the average of those two is 14, i.e. that they add up to 28. So when you divide them, they get to 14. The mode has got to be 8. So we're going to put them in order. So the mode has got to be 8, so there's got to be at least 2 8s. And there can't be 3, because otherwise the median wouldn't be that. Given what we've just said, this one must be 20, because these two have got to add up to 28, so when you divide them you get 14. And then it actually doesn't matter what this one is, as long as it's less than 24, so let's say 21. The remaining cards, write them on the dotted line. Yeah, done. Great. Basketball team has 6 games. After playing 5 games, the team has a mean score of that. 6 games, it has a mean score of 23. Work out the number of points scored, in the 6th game. So we're after the total from the mean. So the total after 5 games is 21 times 5, which is 105. Total after 6 games is 23 times 6, which is 120, 138. Therefore the points in the 6th game is the difference between the two. 6th game we had that, after the 5th game we had that, so we've got 33 points. Okay, solve the inequality. So we're going to add 7 to both sides. The only thing we need to be careful of is if we divide by a negative number, multiply by a negative number. So adding 7 to both sides, 5x is divided by 9, and then divide by both sides by 5. Fractions are your friends, so you can leave it as 9 over 5, or if you prefer we can have 1.8. So x is less than or equal to 1.8. Factorise this. So it looks like a standard quadratic. Y and y. We think it's going to be 7 and 5 make 35. And we want more minuses than positives, so minus 7 plus 5. When we multiply that out, we get the right number of y's. So there's our answer. Hence solve this. Y plus 5 equals 0. So either this bracket equals 0 or this bracket equals 0. So if y minus 7 equals 0, then y equals 7. That's one of our answers. Y plus 5 equals 0. Then y is minus 5 is one of our answers. Okay. Copy and complete the Venn diagram. So we're trying to put in all the numbers 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 4 numbers, 15, that's in the square. The The intersection is 5, 10 and 15. 5, 10, 15. Then tells us B dashed, so that's not in B. So all the things that are not in B, so they're outside B, are 7, 8, 9, 11, 12, 13, 14. And not in A, 4, 6, 7, 8, 14. Okay, so the ones that are not in both are 7, 8 and 14. The ones that are not in A, so 7, 8 and 14, so it's just 4 and 6 that are not in A, 7, 8 and 14, so it's 11, 12 and 13 and 9. There we go. Okay, so let's just rub out all of these. And there we have it. Okay. Work out this. So we can just plug this into our calculator. 4.2 times 10 to the minus 24. If we have it in science mode, kind of SCI mode, then it will give our answer in standard form. But we can also do this kind of longhand, old-fashioned way. We can do the multiplication in any order. So 4.2 times 3, that's 12.6 times 10 to the minus 24 times 10 to the 145. Now remember, when we've got this, we just add the indices. That's what we did in question 1. So we're going to go 12.6 times 10 to the 121. However, this isn't standard form, because standard form the number must be less than 10. So 126, we've divided that by 10, so we've got to make the thing 10 bigger. So it's actually going to be 122. So this is 1.26 times 10 to the 122. It's an isosceles triangle. I'm going to find the area. So we're just going to drop a perpendicular down there. This is the H. So the H of the triangle, well, we know that H is the square root of 17.5 squared minus 14 squared. It's 14 because drops it in advance. So 17.5 squared minus 14 squared square rooted is 10.5. So the area is half the base times the height, half times 28 times the height, which is 10.5. And the area is 147 centimetres squared. Find the gradient of the line L. So it's easier if we rearrange it to get y equals mx plus c. So start that by doing 2y equals minus 7x plus 10. Then we're going to divide by 2, so y equals, got to divide everything by 2, 3.5x plus 5. So what is the gradient? Well, the gradient is just minus 3.5 minus 7 over 2. the coordinates where it crosses the y-axis, well, that's when x equals 0. It's where it crosses. When x is 0, y equals 0 plus 5, so y is 5. So coordinates are 0, 5. Okay, we are a third of the way there. Well done. Stay with us. Himari invests 200,000 yen for 3 years in a savings account paying interest. The rate of interest is 1.8%. First year and X% for the second year and the third year. The value of the investment at the end of the third year is such and such. So, well, we can do the first year, 200,000. I'm going to do it in a slightly shorthand way. It helps with what we're going to do next. If we want to increase by 1.1%, then we've got the 100% and we add on 1.8%. So we times by 1.0, that's the 100%, 0.18, that's the 1.8%. So that's the amount after 1 year. Which is 203,600. So then the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to say actually 203,600. I've got to times it by something. I'm going to pick a different letter because it's not actually P, X. Call it P. And then times by another P. That's got to equal 109,754. So I've got P squared is 209,754 divided by 203,600. So 209,754 divided by 203,600. Which is 1.030225, but that's P squared. So we've got to find out what 1 year is P. So we take the square root of that, and it's 1.015000. Now, if we just look at this and this, that was 1.8%. So this is 1.5%. So our x is actually 1.5 to 1 decimal place. It's that much percent. Okay. Next one gives us the information about the times in minutes taken by 80 customers. Always good to have that as a little check to do their shopping in the supermarket. 0 to 10 was 7, 10 to 20 was 20. We want to know 0 to 10, well it just tells us that's 7. 10 to 20, well that's those two added up, which is 33. 0 to 10 and 10 to 20. Add on the next one, so that's 57. Add on the next one, 71. Next one, 78. 2 more is 80, and we can check with our 80 up there. On the opposite grid, draw the graph. Hopefully we should be able to do this. So 0, there's nobody below 0, so we can just put a cumulative frequency at 0. At 10 it's 7. You should be able to get this more accurate than me. At 20 it's 33. At 30 it's 57. At 40 it's 71. At 50 it's 78. And at 60 it's 80. The graph doesn't always, the numbers don't always fit exactly on the graph. And then we can either do a dot to dot, because all these points are valid, or slightly better mathematically, is to draw a smooth curve, but you get marks for a dot to dot, but it must go through every point. Okay, my last one didn't quite. There we go. Use your graph to find the median time taken. So the median is the middle person. There are 80 people, so the middle person is the 40th. And then we drop down, so that is almost exactly on my graph 22. And I'm pretty sure you get in the mark scheme 21 to 24. Okay, and then the next bit is, it says one of the 80 customers chosen at random. Use a graph to find the estimate that customer takes more than 42 minutes. So 42 minutes is here. So I'm going to follow this up. 42 minutes, I make that 73, but it's more than, so there's 7 people there, so it's 7 people out of the 80. Now if you've got 8 out of 80, that's fine. 7 out of 80, whatever your graph shows. So as long as you clearly show what you've done on your graph, you get the mark for that. Okay, expand and simplify. So I tend to do the hardest bit first, so we'll leave 5x. X times 3x is 3x squared. Plus 6x minus 4x minus 8. I'm going to combine the x's together. 3x squared plus 2x minus 8. So now we multiply everything through by 5. We get 15x cubed plus 10x squared minus 40x. Okay. Simplify completely. So this one's, we need a bit of thinking about this one. So the first thing to realise is that a negative power, what it does is it's the reciprocal, i.e. it's 1 over, or if it's a fraction, it flips the fraction. So the reciprocal of a half is 2, the reciprocal of 2/3 is 3 over 2. So the reciprocal of this is y to the 20 over 16 w to the 8. And that's dealt with the negative bit. Okay. And then we just use the fact that we used before, which actually is you just multiply the powers. So y to the 20 times 3/4 is going to be y divided by 4 is 5, y to the 15 over, let's do the w divided by 4 is 8, times 3 is 6, times 8 divided by 4 is 2, times 3 is 6, so we get w to the 6, and then 16, well we need to know that 4 is the 4th root, so the 4th root of 16 is 2, 2 to the 3 is 8. So there's our simplified version, y to the 15 over 8 w to the 6. Okay, bit of probability, 12 packs in 12 in the first pack, so not is 5/12, 15 in the next pack, 8 of which are sunflowers, that's 8 over 15, which means what's left is 7 over 15. If we go this way, it's exactly the same, 7 over 15, very easy 2 marks for us to try and scoop up. calculate the probability that it will take 2 sunflower seeds. So 1 there, then 1 there. So that is 7/12 of 8/15. Multiply those together. You can see that cancels, and we're going to get 2 and 3. So we're going to get 14 over 45. Okay. A is inversely proportional to c squared. So that means that A, inversely proportional, is like that reciprocal is 1 over, so it's k over c squared. So it's proportional, so it's not equal to, there's a constant of proportionality. Then we can use this fact to work it out. So when A is 40 equals k 1.5 squared, which means we can work out k is 40 squared, k is 90, so we know that A is 90 over c squared, and then it says calculate the value of c when A is 1,000, so we've got 1,000 equals 90 over c squared. So I'm going to multiply by c squared, rid of the fraction, and then divide by 1,000, so I've got c squared equals 90 over 1,000, which is 9 over 100, which means c is positive or negative 3 over 10. And he asks for one value, so I'm just going to put 3 over 10 in there as a positive. Okay, number 16. The diagram shows the circle with centre O. A, B and C are points on the circle so that the arc length is 5 centimetres. So we know that distance is 5. The angle is 55. So we know the fraction of the whole circle is 55 over 360 times the length around the whole side is normally 2 pi r, because r is the thing we don't know, and that's got to equal 5. So I can rearrange that and I can get r equals 5, everything on the bottom, times 360. We're going to multiply both sides by 360, then we're going to divide by all of this stuff, 55 times 2 pi, which gives us a radius of 5.2087, and we're going to use that, so I'm going to leave it quite accurate. And then the area of the circle is pi r squared, which is pi times 2087 squared is 85.2333. We want it to one decimal place, so it's 85.2. Okay, A and B are two similar vases. Vase A has height this, vase B has height this. The difference in the volume of vase B and A and B is this. Okay, so we know the scale factor, the lengths A to B is 15 divided by 10, which is 1.5. So that is 1.5 times bigger when we're talking about the lengths. The scale factor for the volume we therefore know is 1.5 cubed. which is 3.375. Now, this one we don't have either of those two volumes, otherwise we could just use that scale factor. So we've got to say, okay, well, imagine that volume is x, then this volume is 3.375 times x, and then the difference, 3.375x minus x, it's got to equal 1197, which means 2.375 equals 1197, means x equals 504 centimeters cubed. Okay, number 18. Well done if you are still with us. Okay, A equals, we've got to make this a lower bound, so I want a smaller value here for W, 3.445. It's 2 decimal place, that's the smallest it could be. Any smaller and it would round down to the 44, so 445, and then we're taking away, so we want to take away something big if we want to make it as small as possible, if we want the lower bound. So we want a big X, so big X, 1 decimal place is 1.95, and we're going to square it, and then we're taking away something big, so we want this bit to be big, so we want the bottom to be small. Nearest whole number, so the bottom is small, is 4.5. So if we do that calculation, 3 minus 1.95 squared divided by 4.5 equals 2.6. So the lower bound of A is 2.6. Solve the simultaneous equation. So the only way really to do this is by substituting. So we're going to substitute the y into the other equation. So we get 3x squared plus y squared, that's 2x minus 3 squared minus x, 2x minus 3 equals 5. So we've got 3x squared plus 4x squared minus 6 doubled is minus 12x plus 9 minus 2x squared plus 3x, bring the 5 over, minus 5 equals 0. So how many x squareds have I got? 7 minus 2, so I've got 5x squareds. X's I've got 12 plus 3. 12 plus 3, so I've got minus 9 x's. And I've got 9 minus 5, which is plus 4, equals 0. Now you can use the formula at this stage, but I'm fairly sure it's going to factorise. So 5x, minus and a minus, so it's going to be 4 and 1, both minuses. That's minus 20x minus, so it's not that way around, so let's go minus 4 and 1, so that's minus 5x minus 4x is minus 9x. That's great. So x is then either 1 or it's 4 over 5. and then y is 2x minus 3. So if x is 1, y is 2 times 1 minus 3, which is minus 1, or y equals 2 times 4/5 minus 3, which is 8/5 minus 3, which is minus 7/5, which is minus 1.4. So our answers are x equals 1, y equals minus 1, x equals 0.8 or 4/5, y equals minus 1.4. Okay, so more than 2/3 of the way there. Let's keep going. So express this in the form like this. So hopefully you recognise this as the completed square version that we've just done, but with a nasty factor of minus 3. So I'm going to take minus 3 out the front, get x squared, and then this is going to be minus 4x. Minus 3 minus 4 gives me 12x, and then I'm just going to leave the plus 7. So that so far is the same as what we started with. So we're now going to complete the square in this bit. So that's going to be x minus 2 squared. That's going to give me my minus 4x, but it's also going to give me a plus 4. So I want to take away the 4, plus 7. And then we've got minus, multiply brackets, minus 3 x minus 2 squared. Then we're going to have plus 12 plus 7. So altogether we've got minus 3 x minus 2 squared plus 19. So if we write that in the form, we're after 19 minus 3 x minus 2 squared. Okay, so it then says, using your answer to part A, write down the coordinates of the maximum point. So we're looking for, what is the maximum of this? What is the maximum of this function? Well, x minus 2 squared has always got to be bigger than 0, so we're always taking something away from this. So the maximum value, the y value, has got to be 19. Can't get any bigger than that, because you're always taking stuff away. Well, when does it equal that? Well, it equals that when this right hand bit equals 0. Well, when does that equal 0? Well, when x is 2. So when x is 2, that is the maximum value that this can take. It's a really useful bit of the completing the square form. Okay, so this is a prism with a horizontal base, cross section of the prism, so the same shape all the way through. It's a square with an equilateral triangle on top, and EF is 2 times AE. Okay, so we haven't got any actual lengths in this, so there's a number of things we can do. We can either just give one a length and scale everything up, or we can give one a letter. I'm going to go with giving one a letter, so I'm going to call the smallest length in that Boyd's fractions. I'm going to call that x, which means this side is x, which means this is 2x, which means this is 4x. this height is 2x, and this is an equilateral triangle, so that's 2x. Okay, and then what are we trying to find? Well, we're trying to find MAJ. Up to there. Not a very good triangle, but you'll forgive me, I'm sure. So we want to find this angle in here. So the first thing we want to do is find this length at the bottom. Well, you can see this triangle, the green one here. We've got a 4x and an x, and we want to find the diagonal length. So the length AM is the square root of 4x squared plus x squared, which is 16 root 17 x squared. Which if I take that x squared outside the root, it just becomes x root 17. Okay, then so that's AM, that's at the bottom. Then we want to work out the vertical one, JM. So JM is, well, we've got 2x, and then we've got this triangle here where that is x and the diagonal is 2x, and we want the vertical height, so that's the square root, again using Pythagoras, 2x squared minus x squared. So that's 2x plus square root of 4x squared is 3x squared, which is 2x plus x root 3. So we've got, then we are after tan of y. Tan of y is the opposite. That's the 2x plus x root 3 over the adjacent, which is the x root 17. So that is now the point at which the x's cancel, and you get 2 plus root 3 over root 17. But we want it in this form, so we've got to multiply the bottom by root 17, so we get 2 root 17 plus root 3 times root 17 plus root 17 times root 17, which is just 17. And then we want to have it in exactly that form, so the 2's got to go inside, so that's times 2 squared, so that's 4 times 17, which is 68, so that's root 68. Root 3 times root 17 is just 3 times 17, so that's 51, so that's root 51 over 17. So quite a lot of different things in that one to get you thinking, but we are nearing the end now, so we would expect some harder questions. So we've got 22, 23 and 24. 22 is our vector question. So we've got the vector OA is 8A, OB is 6B. Okay, and then we know that M is such that it's in the ratio 1 to 2, so it's in the third, so this is going to be 2B, this is going to be 4B, that bit there, and that bit there, going in that direction, and that's the midpoint, so this is equal to this. Okay, and we want OP in terms of A and B. But we don't quite have enough information, but we can get there two different ways. But let's just work out some other vectors while we're there. So A to B, well, if we're going to go A to B, we need to go minus this one, so we need to go minus 8A plus 6B. And I think that will do for now. Maybe we can work out the vector ON. That might be helpful. O to N. So O to N is we're going 8A, and then we're going plus half of AB. Half of minus 8A plus 6B. So ON is, that's 4, so you're left with 4A plus 3B. So that's O to N. Now, what about M to A? A different one of these. So M to A, so we're just at the moment working out all the vectors that we can. M to A is going to be minus 2B plus 8A. Okay, now here's the crucial bit. There are two different ways that we can get from O to P. So O to P, we can go up here and down here, which is O to M, which is 2B, plus some fraction, and we don't know what it is, let's call it lambda, of MA. Which is 2B lambda minus 2B plus 8A. So that's one way. The other way is that we just go a fraction along here. So OP also equals mu, the letter that we use, along ON, and ON we know is 4A plus 3B. And we know that those two must be equal. So we know that 2B plus lambda minus 2B plus 8A equals mu 4A plus 3B. So if they're equal, we know that the A's are equal, the number of A's equal, and the number of B's. Well, let's look at the number of A's. We've got 8 lambda A's on this side, and we've got 4 mu on this side. So we know immediately the mu is 2 times lambda. And then we know that, so that was looking at the A's, so we now look at the B's. That's the A's. Look at the B's. We've got 2 minus 2 lambda equals 3 mu. 2 lambda is mu, so we've got 2 minus mu equals 3 mu. got 2 equals 4 mu, mu equals half. Okay, if mu is a half, then we know that OP equals a half for A plus 3B. So OP is 2A plus 3 over 2B. Okay, so this is a sketch. This is about transformations of graphs. What does this do? Well, you need to know that that shifts the graph to the left 9 places. If it just moves it to the left, where does the maximum go? Where does that point go? Well, 9 to the left is just this one moves to -4, and this stays the same. This, what does this do? It shifts the graph up 3, so the 5 stays where it is, and 7 becomes 10. Okay, final question. Curve with this, where A and B are constants, and point A with coordinates lies on C. So let's use that bit of information. Then we need to use the gradient bit of information. So we know that -6, the y value, equals A times 2 cubed plus B times 2 squared minus 12 times 2 plus 6. So we've got -6 equals 8A plus 4B minus 24 plus 6 minus 18. Take that over 12. 12 equals 8A. It's 4B. Let's divide that all through by 4. We get 3 equals 2A plus B. So that's relatively nice. And then we need to use the gradient equation. So we know that dy by dx has got to equal 3a x squared plus b plus 2bx minus 12. And when x is 2, the gradient is 16. So 16 equals 3a times 2 squared plus 2b times 2 minus 12. So we get 16 equals 12a plus 4b minus 12. So we get 28, 12a plus 4b. Divide it through by 4. 7 equals 3a plus b. Then we've got our two equations, 1, 2. We can do equation 2, take away equation 1. So I get 4 equals a, and the b's go. And then I put that back into there, and I get 3 equals 8 plus b. B equals minus 5. And then it says find the y-coordinate of the point on the curve where the x-coordinate is 3. Okay, we slightly haven't got enough room here, but let's go over here. So we've got y equals a, which is 4, x, which is 3 cubed, plus minus 5, x squared, which is 3 squared, minus 12 times 3, plus 6, and we plug all that in, and it comes to 33. And there we have our final answer. I hope that's been useful. Do ask if you've got any questions.